Hey there, it's Lacy J from Space Bear Media, the makers of Lost in My 40s. Did you know that Space Bear Media also has a YouTube page where you can go to watch a video pre-show before every podcast episode? If you haven't watched it yet, stop, go there, do so, and then come back. Welcome back, everybody. We have somehow made it to fucking episode 9. It feels so fast, but here we are. It's a Sayid episode. It's called Solitary. Christy's going to present it to us, but first, Ben, remind us of our power rankings. Where are we as of last week?
Well, last week we had a couple folks jockeying position. Kate was still in first place. Locke was still in second, but Sun overtook Jack in third place. We still had Shannon at the bottom of the barrel, but Sawyer went into into second place of the most reviled, and then let's see, Jin and Boone held up tied for third worst. So, all right. But I think we're going to have some movement in the power rankings this week.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Christy.
Hello.
Introduce us to Sayid, please.
All right. Season 1, episode 9.
Season 9.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Can't believe we got here so quickly.
Yeah. Season 1, episode 9, Solitary. Okay. So this show opens with Sayid on the beach, and he's staring at the pictures that he has of the woman, and reading the back of the picture that has a message written on it. I'm not sure what language that is, but
Arabic.
Arabic.
I thought so, but I didn't want to say for sure and then have me be wrong. So anyway, he's sitting there on the beach and he sees a cable in the sand. The cable goes down into the water, but it also goes back into the jungle. So he starts following the cable back to the jungle.
Why would he do that? Cables are a completely natural thing that you find on the beach all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, this was 15,
Totally
20 years ago.
unremarkable.
Cable was still a thing back then.
Actual cable was still, yeah, that's right. Yeah. If this had been filmed now, it'd be like a just big Wi-Fi router on the, on the edge of the beach.
He'd be like, ow, he'd pick up his foot, he'd pick up like a fire stick from the beach. Oh, what's this?
All right.
Okay, so we cut to Jack. He's on the beach and he is changing Sawyer's bandage, and he's not exactly being gentle. And
Sawyer calls him Dr. Quinn.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
For the youngins, Google Dr. Quinn medicine woman.
Yes.
It's right next to Walker, Texas Ranger on the CBS lineup for old parts on Sunday. It's awful programming.
So Sawyer accuses Jack of taking care of him just because he feels guilty about letting Sayid torture him. Sawyer says it's Jack's way of clearing his conscience. He says
he might be right.
Yeah, he starts to say that the only reason Jack is there, and then Jack cuts him off by saying he's there because no one else will have anything to do with you. And that kind of seems to hit a nerve with Sawyer, but then Sawyer turns back into Sawyer and he smiles and he says, she does. I don't know if my accent's as good as Lacy's is, but...
Oh, the Sawyer, he would say it as she does.
Yeah, so Jack basically said no one else wants to have anything to do with you, and Sawyer says she does. Clearly,
I think it was a little more Matthew McConaughey there. I'm not really feeling this. Yeah, well, she does. I don't know. I felt a little more like, all right.
It's hard with just two words. But please, I mean, other than the con man stuff, aren't Sawyer and Matthew McConaughey like the same guy? It's the same haircut. It's the dimples. They're from the South.
They do not have the same haircut.
No.
No.
Matthew McConaughey's had that haircut.
No.
Okay, fine. I'm wrong. It's all fucking wrong. Let's move on.
All right.
Okay, so Jack is annoyed with Sawyer for the whole, she does bullshit. So he just kind of walks away and tells him to change his own damn bandages. So Jack heads over to Kate, and Kate is looking very pensive and staring off. She says, it's been 2 days since Sayid took off, and she keeps expecting to see him coming back. She says that he took off because of what he did, and Jack says it was an accident.
She says accidents happen when you torture people, Jack.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's an accident that you tortured Sawyer.
I think what he means is that it was an accident severing the artery.
Yeah, the artery. That was the accident.
Severing the artery that was never severed because there's no fucking way he would have saved his life had it been, but that's fine. I'm over it.
Oh, he's Jack. He can save everyone.
Yeah. And also...
And I think Sawyer's still a bit bamboozled.
Bamboozled?
They were wrestling with knives.
Bamboo under the fingernails. Never mind.
Oh, Christy, you missed Ben's pun. He said he was bamboozled.
I heard it.
She was like, it was not even worthy of my attention. She's like, I've learned to tune that fucker out.
No, not at all. I love you.
I love you too.
So anyway, Jack follows up and says, he's a soldier. He can take care of himself. So now we cut back to Sayid, who's still following the cable. And as he's following it, he finds a tripwire in the jungle. So he very carefully steps over the tripwire.
Which I'm sure all the boars do as well. They probably just...
Exactly. All the wildlife, polar bears.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, maybe the tripwire is there for the boars so that whoever has set the trap can eat.
Whoever?
Ooh.
Who could it be?
Who could it be?
Whomever, I'm not sure.
Probably whom, but that's fine.
Yeah. So too bad the tripwire wasn't the only trap. And he finds himself hanging upside down from a rope, and his leg is impaled, which was just kind of a happy accident. Yeah.
That was nasty. He swung into that. That was nasty.
Yeah, that spike.
Yeah, that was awful.
So much being a trained soldier.
Right.
Who would have thought about the second tripwire?
Well, I don't know that there's a lot of like leg traps out in the Iraqi desert.
No,
there's that, like, you need trees for that.
Yeah.
So then the Lost logo comes with the scary music, and it cuts to commercial break. When we get back to the show, it's nighttime, and Sayid is still just hanging out. But then he starts to hear some noises off in the jungle. And someone cuts him free, and all we see is a scary silhouette of a person, and then he passes out.
I want to interject something here. Rope is not easy to make, right? Even if you're on an island like that, rope is not an easy thing to make. Why don't you just, you probably have some sort of slip knot or something that you would use there. Don't cut the rope.
You mean don't cut it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a waste. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent point. Okay, so now we're back at the caves, and Jack is taking care of a guy who is obviously a hypochondriac. He's just got some rash on him, and Jack's like, it's hives, and he's like, oh my God, what is it? Poison ivy?
He said, is it contagious? Are hives contagious? Who the fuck is this guy? He looks like he's about 45. He's never heard the word hives before. Get out of
You've got
here,
AIDS.
You
Yes,
idiot.
you've got AIDS.
Herpes.
Not HIV, but full-blown AIDS.
If any of our listeners are Family Guy fans, you'll be laughing. The rest of you are going to think Ben's lost his fucking mind.
I wish it were something a little less serious.
Oh
Very
my
well
gosh.
done.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, there's this hypochondriac, and it's hives. So Jack is clearly annoyed with him, and he's like, "You're fine, it's hives." And Sun takes him away, and she's got some aloe, so apparently she's going to take care of the guy with aloe. Hurley is there, and Hurley is telling Jack that everyone is tense and they need something to do, and Jack's like, "Well, we're surviving," and Hurley's like, "Yeah, but we need more than just surviving. We need something to do." And Jack says things could be worse, and Hurley is absolutely incredulous, and he says, "How?" It was hilarious. I love that moment.
It's so amazing because it's hilarious and it's correct, but it's also like, don't say that on this island.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Because it can and it will get worse.
Yes.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Oh, is that a secret, Ben? Is that something Derek shouldn't know, that there will be more conflicts?
Crap.
In the show. We're in episode 9 in season 1. It goes for 6 seasons, but he's not supposed to know anything else is bad is going to happen.
Season 2, Lost Her.
That's what season 3, Lostest.
With a vengeance.
Lostest. And season 4 is Losterest.
Dumber.
Oh my God. All right.
So this episode switches back and forth to lots of different people very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So now we're back with Sayid, and he is waking up, and he's like tied to a metal bed frame or something.
Yeah,
and
it is a bed frame. That's exactly what it is.
It's a mattress frame, yeah.
Mattress frame with coils in it and stuff like that. Yeah.
So he's tied to this bed frame. There's a single light. It's like a swinging bulb over him. And then he hears a woman speaking in French, in English, in Spanish, and then I think that she goes into
Russian.
6 different languages, I believe.
Right. Yeah. This woman keeps speaking in all these different languages, and the thing that she is saying over and over and over is, "Where is Alex?" So not only is he tied to this bed frame, but she's basically made a cage out of additional mattress frames with the springs and stuff. So he tells her he doesn't know what she's talking about. And then she hits him with an electric shock. So apparently karma works very, very quickly on this island.
It's amazing because last week, 2 weeks ago, we were talking about how in Charlie's episode, The Moth, the plot lines were so similar, where his journey with his brother and the band were very similar with his journey with the castaways, where he was just sort of not loved, not included, not paid attention to. And then here we are in Sayid's episode, where we are delving more into his history of being a torturer, and he is, of course, now being tortured. It's
tortured. Yeah.
It's an important part of this show. A lot of, give what you get, get what you give,
torture.
Kind of, it's a lot of I hate to say the word karma because I don't think it's an actual real thing, but it's in the show, it's very much of I feel like it's teaching you the lessons of, be careful of what you put out there because maybe it comes back to you. Pay it forward, man. Pay it forward message. Yeah, exactly. So anyways, I just find it interesting. The episodes are sort of similar in that way. So
yes. So now we're at our first flashback, and it's Sayid before the plane crash and all that. And he's a member of the Republican Guard.
Yes, and in my notes I wrote Sayid with short hair. No, just no.
I do prefer the long hair, but as long as we're going to go off on this tangent, I also prefer him with this accent versus his actual real life accent.
He's British, right?
Yes.
Is he
really?
British?
Wow.
Yeah.
And back when this originally aired, I don't know about anymore, but back when this originally aired, he was with Barbara Hershey.
That's right. He, was in a long-term relationship with Barbara Hershey. But yeah, he's British, and his natural accent is a whole lot more hoity-toity than the one that he uses on Lost.
Yeah, I really prefer the one on Lost.
Yeah, I thought that the short hair is a no for me. I do think it was 4 or 5 episodes ago, I think I fucked his hair. I like it better long. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, so he is interrogating a man, and he's beating him, and he promises the man that his pain will end when he tells them the truth. So the beating continues for a while, and the man's like, I don't know anything. So later on, Sayid's boss,
and basically, these are Shiite rebels, I guess, and
or Kurdish, one of the two.
Sayid is
I think that they might
could be
have
Kurdish, but I think
Shiite.
they say that it's Shiite. I think they say it's Shiite, and then of course Sayid is a Sunni as Saddam Hussein's people.
Saddam Hussein, yeah.
There was a cool shot. I like the way they did that during the scene where he's speaking in Arabic, and then the camera pans, and the guy that he's torturing sort of blocks out the camera, and then it moves over to the other side of his head. and he's speaking in English, and it does that sort of. That's I think they did the same thing in like Inglourious Bastards, where he's like, he comes into the house and he's speaking in German, and then all of a sudden, or he's speaking in French, and then all of a sudden it turns into English. Yeah, I like it when it's a cool.
Am I the only one who thinks that Arabic sounds beautiful?
I think it's a pretty language.
I think it's really pretty.
I mean, I'm learning German right now, so everything is pretty.
Not a pretty language.
No, it's very angry.
No, I mean, for me, I think I've always thought like one of the most beautiful languages to hear spoken is French, which we get a little bit more in this episode in a little while. But hearing him speak the Arabic, it's I think it's really interesting, and I thought it was
beautiful language.
Did it make you weak in the loins?
I did. Yes, actually, I did. What happened was after I heard him speaking the Arabic, I did have to go outside and lift several rocks with my vagina.
Wow,
just to get the energy out. Yes, but the answer to that question is yes.
Then I had to load those rocks back up in a wheelbarrow, take them to the other side of the yard. It was a thing.
You had to after I lifted them with my vagina.
Yeah. I couldn't lift them. Needed a wheelbarrow.
Your loins aren't strong enough to lift them.
I guess not.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
All right. So he's at this point, he's done with this current torture session. And he tells his boss, I don't know what their military ranks are, so I'm just going to say boss man, that he doesn't think the prisoner knows anything. Their sources were wrong. And so boss man tells him that he's done so well that they're transferring him to the intelligence division if he still wants it. And Sayid says that, yes, he does still want the transfer.
Yeah, and then, you know what, in all of his badassery, he looks at this guy and he says to him, you're my superior officer for now.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and part of that, too, is that the superior officer was like, call me, and I forget what his first name,
yeah. And he's like,
yeah, no, and he was like, no, you're my superior officer. I can't do that.
Yeah.
So that's when we find out that the two of them are like friends outside of their working relationship.
Yeah.
The two men are talking to each other, and then we see another prisoner coming into the scene being taken somewhere. And it happens to be the woman in Sayid's photos. They make eye contact very quickly, but they both kind of play it off like there's no connection, and really good poker face there. So back at the caves, Locke and a guy named Ethan come to chat up Hurley about their hunting.
Stop. Derek, earmuffs. Okay, he's gone. Oh my God. Ethan, I saw Ethan. I'm like, this motherfucker. I can't wait till he gets what he gets.
He immediately trumps Locke when it comes to total creep vibe. Like he is just,
absolutely.
Just a creeper.
Absolutely.
Total creeper.
All right. Should we bring Derek back?
Yeah.
Okay, Derek is back, and he did not miss us saying anything at all about Ethan. Let's go.
Okay. So Locke and Ethan are chatting up Hurley, and I guess while they've been out in the jungle, they've been collecting whatever suitcases and stuff they find. So they bring that back to Hurley. So I guess Hurley is in charge of baggage claim on the island.
Dude, I just took a sip. I just took a sip of my margarita, and I swear to God, some of it was up in my fucking nose, you bitch. That was amazing. That was amazing. Okay. So, baggage claim. Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So back at baggage claim.
Oh my God.
Most of the people are sleeping because it is nighttime. But
Hurley's fucking determined. I am gonna find something fun in these bags.
Absolutely.
It fucking kills me. No more imaginary peanut butter bullshit. We're finding real fun.
Right. He is on a mission to find real fun.
Yeah.
So anyway, everybody else is sleeping pretty much, and Walt wakes up and he goes over to Locke and asks if he can go hunting with them. Michael wakes up and he tells Walt to get back to bed.
I mean, honestly, this pisses me off because I'm just like, you know what, Michael? If you don't really want to be like super dad to this kid or you don't know what to do with this kid, that's fine. But you're stranded on a fucking deserted island. Well, you're stranded on an island. Let him learn how to hunt. What is wrong with you? I mean, like,
I know.
It's a good idea.
The kid is going to need skills. You got this creepy old guy that wants to teach him how to throw a knife.
Yeah.
Let it just fucking let him do it. What is Michael's deal? Michael's going down on the rankings.
He really needs to understand that their relationship is not structurally sound.
No.
Oh, was that a construction?
See,
I love it.
that was a pity laugh. I know that. I know a pity laugh when I hear it.
Or margarita laugh.
Margarita laugh, yeah.
I think he meant you. I was genuinely laughing. Don't tell everybody I'm drinking margaritas. I'm drinking margaritas.
You told everyone
it's in your nose already.
In your nose, yeah.
Oh,
Jesus
yeah, that's
H.
right.
Christ.
Oh, that's right. Oh.
Have another one, babe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so back in baggage claim.
Right, back in baggage claim, Hurley opens the suitcase and he goes, "Whoa, dude!" Like he was like Joey Lawrence or something.
His face is amazing, though. Like you could tell, you're like, what did he find? It was like he opened the suitcase in Pulp Fiction.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah, he was super, super excited about whatever is in that particular suitcase.
Peanut butter.
Yes.
More fireworks.
More fireworks. All the fireworks. There were multiple fireworks smugglers on this flight.
Exactly.
Yeah, why not?
Fuck. Yeah.
Okay, so Sayid's still being electrocuted and, he's begging her to stop. He starts telling her about the plane crash and how he found the wire and followed it, thinking that it might have something to do with the Mayday that's been playing for 16 years. And that's when she comes out of the shadows and says, 16 years. Has it really been that long?
Oh my gosh, this is so funny.
My French accent really needs a lot of work here.
Yes, it does. This is funny that we were talking about accents earlier because on this page I look at my notes next to this and I wrote, oh my God, French is so sexy. Hey, Danielle.
Okay, so yeah, she's like, has it really been that long? Like, she's been here for over 16 years and she doesn't even know how long she's been there because she's a little out of touch. She doesn't seem to believe that he is what he claims to be. So she just knocks him out with the butt of her gun.
Knowing the story and knowing what happens later, I don't fucking blame her.
Yeah.
For not believing him is what I mean. Yeah.
Right. And also for her being on that island for 16 years, her hair is incredible.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
It's absolutely beautiful. She definitely has been, I mean, okay. I was going to say she's been taking the time to comb it, but like, what the fuck else does she have to do? She's clearly, and also it's been 16 years, which means when she arrived at the island, she must have been bald, unless she's finding some way to cut her hair.
Well, I think she could. I mean, she was able to construct torture devices in 16 years.
So yeah, clearly she's been giving herself haircuts. All right.
She probably had a pair of scissors somewhere.
Yeah. I wasn't shocked.
Yeah. So...
Oh boy.
Yeah, so she had just
oh boy.
Okay, so now she's knocked him out with the butt of her gun, and then when he wakes up, she's going through his stuff. And he's kind of looking around and he sees a sweatshirt with Rousseau written on it. He says Rousseau out loud and she says, "How do you know my name?" And he points out the jacket, like, duh, it's right the fuck there. Right. So then he starts
I read your mind.
He's like, the batteries that you're using to torture me, like, aren't powerful enough to power that distress call. And she says, well, it's somewhere else, but they, in quotes, control it now.
It's so exciting. I can't wait to hear what Derek has to say later, but this is it. This is the first time they mention the others. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So they control it now. Yeah. But then she accuses him of being one of them.
Yeah. Which is what I'm saying. Like, why wouldn't she think that?
Right.
I would imagine. Yeah.
So then she calls him by name, and he kind of gives her a look, and she says, "It was on the envelope that you carry around." So that's when she asks him who the lady in the photos is. And he says, "Nadia. Her name is Nadia." So now we're flashing back. I don't know him. I think this is the second flashback.
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not good at keeping track of that kind of thing. So we cut to a flashback of Sayid, and he's being told who his new interrogation is with. And he walks into the room. There's a woman with her back to him, and he just starts talking and, beginning the interrogation. And she interrupts him and says his name. She asks if he remembers her. Apparently they knew each other as children, and she used to pick on him because he ignored her. And apparently she was very, very rich. So he kind of stumbles, in the interrogation a little bit. He gets back in the zone, and he tells her that she's a traitor to her country, and basically starts the interview.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, he tells her that he may have been more interested in her as a child had he known that teasing and bullying meant that she had a crush on him, essentially, which I find interesting, because isn't it usually the other way around, where it's the little boy who's picking on someone because he has a crush or whatever? Something. Yeah.
Well, he ignored her.
Right,
That's
he ignored
what the
her.
draw was.
She's one of those.
Yeah, that was the draw. He ignored her. Apparently, I think she said something like, my mother asked, "Why do you always pick on little Sayid?" And she said, "Because he ignores me."
Right.
So
right, and he does make mention about how, that she came from a super wealthy family and then betrayed her country,
and discusses her wounds from past interrogations.
Right, which is the interesting thing about this too is as he's talking to her, okay, she's betrayed her country. What that means is maybe that she is cooperating with Americans,
possibly.
Right? I find that kind of interesting to think that we would have called her a hero, where from his perspective she was a traitor.
Well, yeah, it's always that way.
Of course.
Two sides.
Yep.
I mean, this was 2004. Weren't we still looking for weapons of mass destruction or some stupid shit like that?
Yeah.
Yes,
that went well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so he's in his interrogation mode. He tells her that she's a traitor, and he warns her that he will hurt her. And that's when she tells him that she's basically been tortured by them before. And she shows him her scars from being burned with acid, having her hands impaled, her feet were flayed. And then she swears she won't tell him anything. And he tells her that he will hurt her. And she says, "I know."
Yeah. It's intense. So now, this episode, as a whole, is intense. And his flashbacks are intense. And some of it's just really kind of gut-wrenching to think about.
Absolutely. And there's just so much. And almost everything that happens is so important.
Yeah. I like the way, how he's very calm about it. He's like, "You tell me what I want you to know, or I will hurt you." He just says that multiple times. It's kind of it's kind of bone chilling, I think, when somebody can be that calm about saying, "I'm going to inflict pain on you to get information." Well,
especially someone he knows, too.
Yeah.
It's not just a random enemy.
Yeah.
Right. So now we're back to Sayid and Rousseau. And she finds a scar from a bullet wound on her. And that's when he tells her that he was a soldier. And she asks him if he still is. He tells her it was a long time ago. So now she starts asking more questions about the woman, Nadia. So he asks her, "Who is Alex?" Okay, so back at the caves, Walt is super bored, and Michael isn't doing anything to entertain his child. He's working on something else, and he just tells Walt to entertain himself. But he also doesn't really let Walt do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got to be within Michael's sight at all times. So what the fuck is this kid supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
And then we see Hurley kind of running around the caves, and he's on some kind of mission, and he's looking for specific items. And then he walks away laughing the most ridiculous laugh. It was awesome. I loved it.
It was fucking
laugh.
great, because Jack said, "What are you doing?" Or what are you up to? And he's just like
Yes.
It was awesome.
I fucking love Hurley.
Yes. Now we're back with Rousseau and Sayid, and she's accusing him of lying. He tells her that there are more than 40 survivors, and then she wants to know why he's alone. And basically, he's ashamed of what he did. And she asks if he left Nadia too. This is when he tells her she's dead because of him. And Danielle doesn't seem to understand personal space. She gets right up in his face. It tells him tells him that she's so sorry, and she's like caressing his face.
Remember, 16 years alone on an island. There's a good-looking man there laying on bed for you.
Yeah.
And so this is the moment that I was talking about, because it's wild. Like the way that she looks at him and she says, "I'm so sorry." It's like she's both genuine and also fucking crazed and creepy, like all at the same time. And the connection between Rousseau and Sayid is really fucking fascinating. And it starts in this episode and it continues through the length of the show. The way that they kind of deal with each other is they have this really interesting and really bizarre sort of like connection and respect for each other. And I think that it's built out of loss.
They have similar experiences in the past.
Right. That they have that in common, that they've both lost, and they respect that in each other, and they understand that in each other. And it makes for a really interesting connection. I won't say too much because of Derek, but as the show goes on, the way that their relationship develops from that commonality, I find really interesting.
But at this point, she's just happy to have some good looking man meat there for her youth.
Well, 16 years.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's been 16 years, and quite honestly, she'd be a lot more batshit than she was had she actually been alone for 16 years. Yeah,
right.
I mean, she does have him like tied to the bed. She can do whatever.
And if you can't get it up, she can always just put the batteries on him.
Oh boy.
So that scene ends when she says that she wants to show him something.
Hey now.
Her unshaven nethers.
Very unshaven. I mean, that's probably like a huge bush.
My hungry vag with like 8-inch long pubes on it.
1975 down there.
Yep, 70s bush.
Oh my God.
Okay, so again, we're back at the caves, and Michael has drawn this really, really nice picture of an idea that he has to build showers and thus keeping the drinking water separate from their bath water. Jack sees the picture that he drew, and Michael reveals that he was an artist in another life. And he says, long story, because Jack was like, I thought you were in construction. So, so he's also an artist.
Long story we'll get into later.
Yes. And then Charlie comes in and he's like, hey, Hurley has something that he needs you guys to see. Come on with me. So everybody follows the Hobbit off into the jungle to find Hurley. And then we find Hurley on this big open space, and he has set up a goddamn golf course.
Yep.
So at first, Michael and Jack are like, this is what you've been doing. This is what you've been right. And Hurley's like, rich idiots play golf on tropical islands all the time. So Michael seemed really pissed about this whole thing that Hurley's been spending time on this when others are being more productive. And Hurley's like, our lives suck. We need some fun.
Yes.
And then he says, we're lost on an island, running from boars, monsters, freaking polar bears. And Michael goes, polar bears? Charlie goes, oh, you didn't hear about the polar bears? I loved that moment.
Lost it. Just like, oh, you didn't hear about that? Yeah, polar bears,
Yeah, so that was great. And then Hurley reasons that they have to have fun in their lives, so they're going to go crazy.
Yeah, and he's not fucking wrong.
No, he isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So speaking of crazy, Rousseau has shown Sawyer a music box that she had.
Sayid. You said Sawyer, which I did all in the last episode, mix the two of them up.
Okay, yeah. So Rousseau shows Sayid her music box.
Music. Giggity.
Yeah.
Her box.
Wasn't the box we were expecting.
Music box.
Right. And her box has been broken for years.
Oh, poor thing.
She's been on the island a long time, man.
Yeah, the box is busted.
I'm dying. You know what, though? I mean, if I'm stranded on an island for 16 years, I'm alone the whole time. The only thing I'm going to do is masturbate, because what the fuck else is there to do?
Exactly.
Gather berries. Figure out how to get a clean source of water, make clothes, make shoes, hunt,
cobble shoes.
Yes.
But yeah, boring. You gotta fill the off hours with masturbating. Yeah.
Hey, Ben.
Yeah, babe.
Got any special occasions coming up that you need a card for?
Is this a trick question?
No, it's an advertisement.
Is this about barbcards.com again?
Bingo.
So I suppose you're going to remind me that each handmade card is only $1.50.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't come with busy backgrounds or flowery poetry.
You got it. Barbcards.com offers to-the-point communication within several different categories, including our favorite, potty mouth. And if you can't find what you want, barbcards.com can do customizations.
Can I still get all of my cards for no more than $4 shipping, no matter the size of the order?
You know it. Barbcards.com has got all you need. Hey, Ben.
Oh, my God. What are we selling now?
Merch.
Our merch?
Yes, sir. Shirts, coffee mugs, wine tumblers, bottle openers, stickers, magnets, and more. Your choice of product and your choice of Space Bear Media graphic from any of our podcasts.
Please tell me we're not making merch now, too.
Of course not. We'll stick to podcasts, and Pixis Products will do the rest.
Thank God. I bet you have more to say, though.
Sure do. Pixis Products is a small business run by a local mom, well, local to us anyway, who needed something else to do besides being a snack bitch.
A what?
A snack bitch, also known as a mom with a young child.
There's still more, isn't there?
Yepers! Pixis Products works with other small businesses for supplies, art, and other collaborations at every opportunity, including ours. In fact, Pixis Products even gave Space Bear Media our own storefront on their site. You can find us at shopspacebear.com.
Say what?
You heard me. Go to shopspacebear.com and buy something.
Okay, so the music box was apparently a gift from her love, Robert. Sayid offers to try to fix it for her, but he's like, you have to free my hands. And then she quickly gets up and starts preparing a syringe. And he's like, you don't have to do this. And then she starts asking him, what is written on the back of the photograph? And she says, well, maybe you're not telling me because it's too painful to think about. And then she injects him. And then she injects him.
She also, before she did that,
16-year-old stuff.
Yeah, before she did that, she's sharpening the needle on what looks like sandpaper.
She was sanding it,
yeah.
Is that trying to clean it or sharpen it? I mean, I don't know.
Ouch. Sharpening. She was sharpening it.
Yeah.
Which is awful to think about.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, if her box is broken, you got to think 16 years of needle's probably not going to be the sharpest either, so.
True. Yeah. So then we cut back to Jack and Michael, and they're having a very serious discussion. And they're like, this is a big problem.
Some close talking going on there. Their faces are really close together.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Absolute close talking. And Michael's like, it's a big problem, but Jack, it's your call. And then Jack goes, okay, I'll take the 7-iron.
So good.
Right. And then over by the hole, Hurley
Are you talking about Rousseau again?
That's the box.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
What is it called in golf?
It's called a hole.
It's a hole.
It's called a hole.
Yeah.
A finely manicured green. But we're not seeing that either there or with Rousseau. So
both of them are bushy.
But Jack, is about to take a shot, and Hurley and the Hobbit are like dancing distractedly. It's
Hurley is
really
like
funny.
Gyrating, and he's thrusting, and it's amazing.
I absolutely loved seeing him dance.
See if he ends up on anyone's fuck list this week.
Yeah. No, not on my fuck list. Hurley's adorable, but no. So Jack is about to swing, and then here comes the fucking hypochondriac, and he's like, my rash is, fuck this guy. And he's like, my rash is spreading. And then he realized that they're playing golf. And at first he sounds really, really pissed, but then he's like, can I play?
What rash?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't want you to spread your rash. Go back to the beach, dickhead.
Yes. So now we're back with Sayid, and he wakes up and he's sitting at a table. And Rousseau apologizes for sedating him, but she says it was the only safe way for her to move him. So once again, he offers to fix the music box, even after all she's done to him. And then he asks
for her name in exchange for fixing it.
Yes.
Because he has to know her name before he touches her box.
So traditional.
Yeah. Gotta be a first name basis to touch the box.
Yeah, so
or your stage name, whichever.
Do you want me to fix your box? And she says yes. And then he says he wants her first name, and she says Danielle. So yes, her name is Danielle. He asks her how she came to be on the island while he's working on her box. She starts telling him that she's
a talker.
Yes. So she explains that she was part of a science team. She said that they were 3 days out of Tahiti when their instruments malfunctioned. There was a storm, and then they're shipwrecked on the island. And then she says they survived for 2 months before. So, yeah. So then he asks about the message that has been on a loop for 16 years. And she says it killed them all. And she says they were coming back from the Black Rock. Mm-hmm. It was them. They were the
I wrote
carriers,
that down. What is the Black Rock?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. What is the Black
tuned.
Rock? Mm-hmm.
That's the question that will be answered.
Yeah. Arst.
It's the Black Rock Cafe. So they go and
have. So yeah, she's like, we were coming back from the Black Rock. It was them. They were the carriers, the others. She asks, Sayid asks if she's ever seen any other people on the island. And she says, no, but I hear them. They whisper. And he gives her a look, and she says, I know you think I'm crazy. But then he very kindly tells her that he thinks that she's just been alone for too long.
I wrote down in my notes, okay, she's nuts. Great.
Yeah.
Right.
That shit crazy.
Absolutely. I mean, she's been there for 16 years.
Yeah.
So of course she's crazy.
Maybe once he fixes her box, she'll be a little more well-aligned.
Yeah, 16 years with a broken box. Man.
Well, we don't know how long the box has been broken.
That's true.
So.
True.
I think the trauma is that the box is broken regardless of when it happened.
Yeah, that'll just stick with her forever. So back in Iraq, Sadia is bringing...
Sadia even.
Sadia.
It's the Sayid Nadia.
Yeah, Sadia.
Like the Hollywood name.
Kinky, yeah.
Like Bennifer?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Bennifer 2.0 right now, thank you.
Yeah, I see that.
Depending on what happens by the time this airs.
Yeah, seriously. That's going to be so fucking over.
So we're just reminiscing, apparently, about Bennifer 2.0.
Yeah.
So he's bringing Nadia food, and he wants her to point out a suspect in the photos. He's like, if you just cooperate a little bit, I think I can get them to set you free.
I want to point something out here, though. When they open up the door, you see the fucking size of that cell she's in.
Yes, nice.
Huge.
It's absolutely massive. Now, I got to imagine, even in Iraq, the prison designers probably aren't giving people in solitary that much room. You wouldn't even need to set her free. She had all the room she needed in there to set up a nice, comfortable life. She could probably farm in that fucking thing. It was so big.
Wait, are we talking about her
prison cell
area or Danielle's box?
The prison cell.
You'd probably farm
the prison cell.
Danielle's box too.
Yeah. You'd probably need like a scythe or something like that to just cut down all the tall grass.
A weed whacker.
Okay, so so he's been a little bit naive, and he's like, if you cooperate, I can get them to let you go. And of course, we know that would never happen, really. And she says that I won't have these visits to look forward to anymore.
Yeah, because he's feeding her too.
Yeah. So she tells him that she knows that he's not this person. He's not this interrogator who tortures people. That's not who Sayid is.
And as a viewer, we're left thinking like, oh, is that true? Who is the real Sayid? Is he good?
Yeah.
Is he bad? Is it both?
I think that's the whole
point of the show. Yes.
Light versus dark.
White rock, black rock.
Yeah. So now we're back on the beach, and Shannon is, laying out in a bikini, getting a tan. And Boone starts telling her about the golf course. And so he's like, yeah, I'm going to go watch them play golf. And Kate's like, Jack's golfing?
Kate?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she did hear
Kate,
that. Sorry, I thought you were talking about Shannon. Yes, that's right.
No.
She did say that.
Yeah, so Shannon's like, well, Boone, wait for me. And then Kate is like, Jack's golfing? So a bunch of folks from the beach want to head over.
Is Caleb blowing his nose?
Yeah.
I was like, what is that?
Oh, wow.
Everybody has dogs.
I was like, what the fuck?
Wow.
It's like, that didn't sound like a dog.
No, that was amazing.
those East Coast houses just resonate.
Wow.
I'm going to start over with the Boone telling Shannon.
That's fine. Let's do it.
Okay, so Boone is down at the beach. Shannon's laying out, getting some sun, and Boone tells,
lazy biatch.
Yep, not doing anything productive. But speaking of not being productive, Boone tells Shannon about the golf course. So Kate hears that Jack's golfing. A whole bunch of folks from the beach are like, we're going to head over and watch golfing. And of course, Sawyer being Sawyer is like, imagine that. A doctor golfing. What are we going to see next?
Yeah.
A cop at a donut shop?
That was obvious.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Yeah.
Oh,
so Kate's like, are you coming? He's like, no, I don't think that anybody really wants me there. And she's like, well, one outcast to another, if you tried a little bit, then maybe. So yeah, everybody goes to watch the golfing. Now Sayid has fixed the music box, and Danielle is so happy. But she doesn't seem to see that he still has a very small screwdriver. Mm-hmm. So now he starts asking her to let him go back to the people that he was talking about. She very quickly says, I can't. It's not safe. You need me. And then we hear a big scary noise outside, and she goes to head out. And she says, if you're lucky, if we're lucky, it's one of the bears. And under his breath, he's like, if we're lucky,
Also, one of the bears.
So that implies that there is more than one fucking polar bear on the island. So yeah, he tells her that. Then he says it might be the monster, and she looks back and says, "There's no such thing as monsters." So. Okay, another flashback, and his buddy, who is also his superior officer, tells him it's time to execute the prisoner. He's like, you've been working on her for a month. You're not getting anything. Execute her. It will serve as, a lesson to her, the other rebels or whatever. And Sayid obviously seems reluctant, and his boss asks him if it's a problem, and he, puts his poker face on, and he says, no, it's not a problem. So he opens her cell and he tells her to put the hood on, and she asks him if he's going to hurt her. Back in the present, Sayid has just freed himself. He grabs a bunch of Danielle's stuff.
Yeah, that was easy, wasn't it? She's gone for 2 seconds, and he's just out of the chains and ready to go.
Yeah,
hey, man, never underestimate the training of the Republican Guard.
Apparently.
Exactly. So yeah, he's got himself free. He starts grabbing a bunch of Danielle's stuff, something that looks like it might be a map of the island, a bunch of other papers, and a gun. But he does forget his photograph of Nadia. So that made me sad when I realized he was walking away without that. Back at the Masters tournament, Kate has arrived, and Jack is smiling, and she's like, "Oh, I almost didn't recognize you." Everyone is having fun and a good time. Did you want to say something?
No, I was just laughing at that.
Oh, okay.
That Jack doesn't have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a stick in the mud. So everyone's having fun. And then all of a sudden, Walt comes up to the group and he's talking to Michael, and he's like, "You left me alone at the caves." And Michael's like, "Oh, you were with Claire." And he's like, "Claire's sleeping, like you left me alone." And Michael's like, "I'm so sorry, bud." And he's like, "Do you want to play?" And he's like, you can go next. And then they're like, "Oh, Michael, it's your turn." And he's like, "Oh, well, you and I'll play later. I'm going to go take my turn." So again, with stellar parenting.
Such a dick.
Yeah. So Walt just kind of walks away. He's like, "Fuck you, Dad," and walks away. Sayid's free. So he's running away in the jungle, and then he hears a noise, and he looks over and he sees that it's Diane.
Diane?
I don't know.
Who in the hell is Diane?
Dirty Diana. Oh.
Diane.
I'm pretty sure there's no Diane in the entire series.
Yeah. So anyway, in the jungle, Sayid is running away. He hears a noise. He realizes that it's Danielle. And he points his gun at her and tells her to drop the gun. So now we have another flashback. There's a lot of flashbacks in this one.
Yeah.
And Sayid basically frees Nadia. She's like, "Come with me." And he says, "Deserters, I can't. They'll kill my family." So she quickly, scribbles a message on the back of that photograph. And then his boss catches them. And, as his boss is like calling for a guard, Sayid shoots him. And then he shoots himself, and he gives the gun to Nadia. And he's like, "You have to go. I'll make it seem like you stole the gun and shot us both. It's fine. You got to go."
Yeah. Meanwhile, the angle of the gun that he puts into his own thigh would mean that she was like
hanging
in the
ceiling.
rafters shooting at him. It just doesn't make sense, but whatever.
Now, I don't want to be insensitive because I don't really know anything about, living in a place like Iraq. But I mean, do they do a whole lot of like blood spatter analysis?
Well, I don't know about that, but I think a doctor
files out there.
No, I think a doctor would be able to tell the trajectory of the bullet by the way that the wound was in his leg, to tell that it came from above, because he was holding the gun up over his own thigh. So you would see the trajectory of the bullet would mean it was coming from up high. Is what I meant.
Baghdad.
Yeah.
CSI Baghdad.
Just give it time. Give it time.
Oh God.
So back in the jungle, Danielle, instead of dropping her gun, she lifts her gun. So Sayid fires on her, but the gun doesn't go off. And she says that she removed
He never actually checked it.
Pin.
He never actually checked it. Like when he pulled the gun, he never even checked the chamber, which as a soldier, he would have done that first thing to make sure it was loaded. He would not have known that that the firing pin was removed. But that's one of those things that I think like has a little bit of a hole there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A box, whatever.
You have to suspend your,
of course.
Yeah, I have trouble with that.
Polar bears on islands, monsters.
Yeah. But still, you check the chamber. I mean,
Vincent.
Yeah.
Vincent.
So when his gun doesn't go off, she tells him that she removed the firing pin. And then she says, "Robert didn't notice it either." Blech. And then she says, "Robert didn't notice it either when she shot him." Sayid seems really confused, and he says, "But you loved him." And she says, "He was sick. It took them all, one after another. I had no choice." And that's when Sayid realizes that she killed them all.
Yeah, and this is an amazing moment because you're left wondering, like, okay, so was there some, like, force that took over?
Yeah, what made them sick?
Robert,
what was their sick?
Right, that took them over? Or
she'd have to kill every one of them.
Right, but was it real? Was there like a force, or did she just go fucking crazy and kill everybody?
It was COVID-04.
Yeah.
That's what we're left wondering, which I love, so.
Yes.
There was a lot of questions in this episode.
Oh, God, yes.
Yes. So yeah, he realizes that she's killed all of them, and she asks him, what would have happened if we were rescued? Because apparently these people were sick. She said she couldn't risk
like
it.
she acted like whatever this sickness was going to just like take over
like
the whole world.
Contagious, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, she's like, they were sick, so I had to kill them. I couldn't risk it. And then he throws his gun down and he says, I'm not sick. You shouldn't kill me. I'm not sick. And he asks her, why she's going to kill him. And she says that she can't let him go, to have someone to talk to touch. And then he says, you'll find me in the next life, if not this one. And apparently that's what was written on the back of the photograph of Nadia. Mm-hmm. He tells her that he knows what it is to hold on to someone because he's been holding on to Nadia all this time, 7 years, just hoping that she's alive somewhere. But now he realizes that the more he holds on to her, the more he pushes everyone else away, all of those around him.
Which is some good commentary on grief and what it can do to you.
Absolutely.
If you let it take hold. Yeah.
Yeah. So, he's realizing that the only way off the island is with the help of the people on the plane. So Danielle lowers her gun and he asks her to come with him. She wouldn't have to be alone anymore. And she very gently touches his face. And then she warns him to watch the people he's going back to closely. And then as she walks away into the jungle, he calls her and asks, who is Alex? And she tells him that Alex was her child. And then she just turns and walks away.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. At least they answered that question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who he was.
Right. So now we're back at the golf game. Charlie misses his shot. So Jack is about to win his green blazer. And people start making bets. So all kinds of people are making bets. And then Sawyer shows up and he's got a bet of his own. It surprises the whole group that he's come there, but they seem to accept him, and it's kind of a sweet moment.
Well, because Kate, there's a pause and nobody quite knows what to do. But then Kate jumps in and says, I'll take that action.
Yep.
Yeah.
And once Kate,
that
takes
could be a double entendre.
Oh, that's totally a double entendre.
Looks like some boxes might be getting filled.
Oh, my God. Once Kate takes the step towards accepting him, then everybody else is like, oh, okay, let's play golf.
Yep.
So now we cut back to Locke, and he's throwing knives. Just throwing knives in the jungle randomly.
No golf for Locke. There's knife throwing to be done.
I mean, he's probably not played golf because he was in a wheelchair. I don't know if you can play golf from a wheelchair.
He could be the golf cart.
Oh, Ben.
Wow.
That was great. So Walt approaches Locke while Locke is throwing these knives, and he asks him to teach him how to do that.
But I love how Walt can't sneak up on Locke. Locke sneaks up on everybody, but Walt is trying to come through the junk. Yeah, and Locke is just does your father know you're here? Before you even see that Walt is standing there. It's what the fuck?
Right. So yeah, he wants Locke to teach him how to throw knives, apparently. So Locke hands him a knife, and Walt's face when Locke handed him that knife was just priceless. I absolutely loved it. So now we're back with Sayid. He's in the jungle by himself. He's heading back to his people, the other people from the plane crash. And then he starts hearing whispers in the jungle.
What?
Whispers.
Maybe Danielle wasn't so crazy after all.
Yeah, I wrote down in my notes, oh, perfect. She's not nuts. There are actual fucking voices.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Jeffrey Epstein was murdered.
The end.
Did you hear what he said?
No.
He was whispering.
I was the only one that heard you. He said Epstein was murdered.
Oh, that was great.
Wow. Oh, God. All right.
Awesome.
So that's the end of episode 9.
Yeah.
I have a couple fun facts about the Iraqi Guard.
Republican Guard.
Yes, the Iraqi Republican Guard, excuse me. This was Saddam Hussein's elite force. They were created in 1964 and dissolved in 2003 when many of them became ISIS. Thank you, W.
Yep.
But they were, not only were they elite in their training, but they were also paid more. They were given bonuses. They were given cars and subsidized housing. So they were the elite of the elite. They got, yeah. They got special treatment. And again, they did all of the sort of horrible things. I suppose you could equate them to like a Hitler's SS kind of thing. They were, the ones at the top. Yeah.
Our people use advanced interrogation techniques or enhanced. Yeah. And enhanced interrogation techniques. So,
yeah. Well,
another thing about the Republican Guard, while they were the elite troops, they also had a fairly large armored force. You did not want to be in the Republican Guard because they engaged in the first Gulf War in a battle called the Battle of Medina Ridge, where basically our armor met their armor and they were fucking slaughtered.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was
I remember hearing about that.
No contest.
It was like up until, I think, the Battle of Kursk before then was the largest meeting of armor in the world, which was on the Russian front in World War II. And this one was supposedly larger with a total number of vehicles, which means we're talking armored vehicles in the thousands meeting each other. And they were using probably old Soviet tanks, most likely.
Mostly Soviet stuff.
And we were using M1 Abrams. And it was just a turkey shoot. There was most of the Republican Guard was wiped out.
Right, and the remaining ones became terrorists. From our
I think the unit stayed, but my understanding was that their like the strength of that unit was massively dissolved, like was massively lowered during the first Gulf War.
Yeah. Right, and I mean later on they became ISIS. Okay, so let's do some best moments, worst moments. I'll actually start. My best moment, the introduction of Danielle. I fucking love her. She's one of my favorite characters in this show. I was waiting for this episode. It was so good to see her. And that's it. Best moment was Danielle. Worst moment, when she's fucking sharpening a needle on like sandpaper. What the hell is that? That's horrible. And I mean, as somebody that's worked in medicine, just the idea of that makes me cringe, and I couldn't take it. How about Derek? Best and worst?
My best moment was the building of the golf course. Just kind of gave some relief to the survivors after trying to survive her. Because this is day 13, by the way, on the island. It's almost 2 weeks. And so that was just great to see that happen. And, then the worst moment was when Sayid was going to torture Nadia.
Yeah.
So I thought, because they know each other, he knows her, and, he's kind of forced to the situation, basically, is what it appears to be at the time.
And she had a schoolgirl crush on him.
Yeah, but he ignored her.
Mm-hmm.
Christy, what about your moments?
My best moment was we're lost on an island, running from boars, monsters, frickin' polar bears. And then Michael saying, polar bears. And Charlie's like, oh, you didn't hear about the polar bear?
That was a good moment.
Laughed and laughed. I actually replayed it a couple of times because I just absolutely loved that moment. And then my worst moment was the very end when Sayid started hearing the whispers, because that's just fucking creepy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, from like Sayid's point of view, I feel like I would have felt better if I thought Danielle was just fucking nuts as opposed to there actually being voices in the jungle.
Yeah.
How about Ben?
My favorite moment was when Hurley was running around the caves and Jack's like, what are you doing? And he just, the way he giggles.
Yeah.
I love that.
That is a good moment.
My least favorite moment, I didn't have much of really a least favorite moment. And there's always like Michael's interactions with his kid that I just think is like every time it's just like, dude.
Cringe.
Yeah, just total cringe. So, I mean, it was a couple moments in that episode where that happened.
All right. Christy, power rankings, best, worst, fuck, kill?
My top is Hurley, just because he was so funny in this episode. The giggle and then the gyrating dance that he did. I absolutely love Hurley. And my worst is Michael, because he's still a shit father.
Yeah. All right. So fuck, kill. Sorry.
Nadia. I mean, even in solitary, she's really hot. And let's just kill the hypochondriac. He brings no value to the island whatsoever. So let's kill him. Find it, if you can find a volcano, just sacrifice him or something.
or just take him to the beach and drown him. I mean, it's simpler.
That works too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, best and worst character, it's another week where they were the same. It's Sayid. I love him. I think he's great. There's so many things about him that are awesome, but he was also a torturer. And just like knowing that he was able to put himself in that position where he was able to do that makes me upset with him. Fucking kill. I'm having another threesome this week. I'm taking on Sayid and Nadia at the same time. It's going to be awesome. And I was also killing the hypochondriac. Fuck that guy. He's annoying. Get out of here.
It's hives.
It's hives.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Not going to kill you. It's hives.
You've got mates.
Derek, how about you?
My favorite character this week was Hurley, just because of what he did with the golf course and all that. My worst was Michael, because, again, he's just a shit dad. He won't let his kid do anything, alone. But he doesn't do anything with them. And I'll fuck Nadia, because, even in solitary, she looks good. After being tortured, beaten, whatever. And then I'm going to kill the hypochondriac as well, because just put him out of his misery.
Those hives are fatal, my friend. All right, Ben, give us yours and then the updated rankings, please.
Top choice is Hurley. He brought much needed comic relief with everyone so dour and down. You had a torture episode, so you needed a little bit of levity injected into the proceedings, and Hurley brings that.
Really good writing there.
Yeah. The worst was the hypochondriac. I mean, I wanted to strangle his ass right from the get-go before he even uttered a word. They did great casting for that part, because the guy just looks, he's got a really punchable face. For fuck, you know what? I'm just going to fuck Claire this week. I know she was hardly in the episode, but I just need a change of pace, really.
You're fucking her pregnant?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Was she even in the episode aside from
I don't
saying
think
that she fell asleep?
Yeah, she was referenced, but whatever.
She wasn't in the episode because she was fucking Ben in the cave.
That's right. Getting some of that prego going on. And then, I'd kill the hypochondriac as well. So we have a straight four. All of us killed the hypochondriac this week.
Yeah,
that's probably why he's so afraid of everything. Is because everyone's trying to kill him.
Yeah, exactly. That punchable face.
It's the first time we all killed the same person.
Yeah,
maybe not. I have to go back and look. But what are our rankings? Yeah.
Well, once again, it's similar to what happened in the Moth, where we've got one-time characters or extras sort of taking the bullets. So we haven't really had a whole lot of change. Kate is still well in first place. Locke is still holding in second place. Sun has maintained third place with Jack just behind her, so no real changes there. Shannon is still in last place. Sawyer still second from last. Jin and Booth are still third from last. So there's Boone, whatever.
The eyebrows.
But the one thing to notice is that we are starting to see Hurley is starting to kind of pull away from the middle of the pack. Mm-hmm. So that's strong performances. Strong performances for Hurley. So he looks like he's got a great future on this island.
All right. How about your final impressions, Ben?
I liked this show. I liked this episode a lot. I liked, obviously getting more into Sayid's backstory and, the idea that he comes from sort of like a background where he's he's torn. His loyalties are sort of torn between, I think, the things that he knows are right and the sort of nationalist fervor that sometimes gets mistaken for being a good person. Mm-hmm. And I enjoyed Danielle as a character because she makes me really fucking uncomfortable. And somebody that's probably 16 years alone on an island would probably be a little unsettling to be around. So I thought her character was not just well written, but I think she was really well acted. So yeah, all in all, I didn't really enjoy the last episode much with Sawyer, but I thought this one was a strong return.
All right, so I thought this is an incredibly important episode because it introduces, like, not only does it stay with the themes of who's good, who's bad, is it a little bit of both, is redemption something that's even possible? All of those themes are very strong in this episode, but it's really important because it introduces all new kinds of angles. We get Danielle, we find out there's somebody else on this island that was not on that plane, and potentially even more people, or whispers for that matter. And I love this episode because it leaves us with more questions than it answered. And Derek, get used to more of that as we go on. Christy, how about your final impressions?
I love this episode. It was really, really intense. And like I said at the beginning, it seemed like everything that happened just about in this episode had great importance. Besides Sayid's backstory, meeting Danielle was absolutely huge. So I'm really excited that character is there too. It was a great Sayid episode.
All right, Derek, what is your final impression, and how many questions do you have after this episode?
This is actually my favorite episode so far in the show, just because there was so much in it, and it, obviously is, asking or creating a lot of questions for future episodes. I like the backstory of Sayid, and I do like Danielle too. She is a really good character.
She just gets better. She's fucking great.
Yeah, just crazy as hell, but she would be after 16 years.
Yeah.
So the biggest questions are, like, who are the others and the whisperers?
Mm-hmm. All right. Who are the others and who are the whisperers?
And where is the Black Rock Cafe?
Yes, Black Rock as well. That was another one I wrote down.
All right. Yeah, this is getting exciting. I'm loving watching Derek watch this and like hearing the questions that he has, because it's just fun, I guess, for me. Hopefully the listeners are feeling the same way.
I'm also loving rewatching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am too. I had forgotten a lot of the like little details, especially like the stuff in season 1. All of the life in the caves is something that once you get to the end of the show, it just feels like it's a so lifetime ago. Yeah, and you just kind of you forget about their life in the cave, except for, I'm not even going to earmuff it. I'm just going to let that go. So that's the end. That's the end of episode 9. Join us next week for episode 10. It's called Raised by Another. It is a Claire episode.
Claire.
Ben's going to give it to us. And there will be some more questions answered, some more questions made, and we'll see you then. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Lost in My 40s is a Space Bear Media production. Executive produced and edited by me, Lacy J. Sound engineering, editing, and original music by Benjamin Trimp. Like and follow Lost in My 40s on Facebook to interact with your hosts. Plus, follow Space Bear Media on YouTube to watch our episode pre-shows. You can also find us at SpaceBear_media on Instagram and Twitter. Or come to our website, spacebearmedia.com.